They'd almost given up hope, but one Metro Atlanta couple has a profound reason to give thanks.
After nearly 2 years of waiting, their young daughter Zuzu received a heart transplant early Saturday morning. The Fox Medical team's Beth Galvin first introduced us to Zuzu in 2016, and she joins us now with a happy update.
Oh, and I love this story, Sine and Tom, because it has been such a long haul for Zuzu al-Taey and her parents. She has spent almost her entire life in and out of Children's Healthcare of Atlanta. And last weekend, her parents' prayers were finally answered because early Sunday morning, surgeons gave Zuzu a new heart. It's a powerful moment. Zuzu al-Taey walks for the first time 3 days after receiving her new heart. This on the same floor here at Children's Healthcare of Atlanta at Eggleston, where she took her first steps as a baby. A staff favorite, a little girl with big brown eyes whose tiny heart was failing.
She was the life of the hallway. Anytime that she came out of the room, everyone was always like, "Hey, Zuzu," and she would wave.
But because of Zuzu's rare blood type, it would take nearly 2 years to find her a donor heart that would be a good match.
She's the only baby with it all this time. Most of the babies like her, they got a heart like 3 months, maximum 6 months.
Zuzu waited 20 months, but nurse practitioner Nicole Lehr and the children's heart transplant team were able to send her home after about a year, wearing a toddler-sized backpack pump that delivered IV medication to keep her heart functioning.
But Zuzu, I don't think she really knew. I think she thought that she was home just normally as just like with her siblings. And I think that every time we saw her come in, she was doing great. She had a lot of activity. She was jumping on the trampoline, doing all the normal kid things.
The wait was harder on Anwar Jasim and her husband Salah al-Taey, who emigrated from Iraq several years ago. Every checkup, Anwar would ask if they'd found a heart for Zuzu, and the answer was always not yet.
There are kids that don't make it, that are waiting on the list. There are kids that for whatever reason don't qualify for heart transplant, so they don't get the opportunity to get a donor organ. And then there are kids that wait a long time.
Kids like Zuzu. Last week, Anwar says she finally admitted to herself this transplant wasn't going to happen.
Zuzu gonna get heart. I'm hopeless. It's like there's no way Zuzu to get heart.
Just 5 days later, a transplant coordinator called.
She said, "I got good news for you." What's the news? She said, we got heart for Zuzu.
Stunned, Anwar asked her to repeat herself.
I keep asking her to repeat that like 5 times. It was hard to believe it. Zuzu gets heart. And then, I can't believe it.
Within hours, Zuzu was in the operating room at Children's receiving a new heart, donated anonymously by a family that was losing a child.
They went from being at home with a toddler that has a really, really significant heart condition to 24 hours later having a heart that's pumping perfectly normal in her body.
It's different feelings. Yeah, different feelings. Scared, happy, excited, everything.
And in just a few days, Zuzu al-Taey will walk out of Children's and begin her new life with a heart as strong as she is. And if everything goes as planned, Zuzu could leave the hospital as soon as Monday. That's just 8 days after she received her transplant surgery. And Tom and Sine, her family is really just so grateful, not just for this heart and this tremendous gift, but for this opportunity to move on with their lives and live a life beyond the hospital. Yeah. Gosh, talk about Thanksgiving.
Well, and so many emotional ups and downs,
Yeah, they've been through a lot, but this is such a good reminder of why it's important that people, if they're willing, sign up on these donor lists, because you just never know if you could save a life like little Zuzu.
And you know, a donor can touch as many as 8 lives, save as many as 8 lives by providing organs. So it's a huge deal to just educate yourself about what's involved.
You know firsthand.
Yes, I'm a kidney donor,
That's
so
right.
yeah, it changed my life for the better.
Beth, thanks. Happy Thanksgiving.
You too.